Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We are back on the Perkins D3.152. Gonna try to finish assembly on this thing today. Bottom end is all put back together, so gonna get the top end done and maybe get some fresh coat of paint on it and all ready to put back in the welder. So stick around and let's make something happen here. Got my camshaft all cleaned up. I did get a new bearing, a new cam bearing. This engine only has one cam bearing at the front of the motor here. I'm gonna opt out of installing it though. This one is damn near perfect that's in there, so we'll save the hassle of that and just reuse on it. Got the cam all cleaned up, so we're gonna lube it up real good and get to sliding this thing in there. Okay. Got our mark all lined up. Right there. Beautiful. So there is an oil galley at the bottom there. So this notch in the gasket's going to line up with that. Grab our end plug, go ahead and squirt a little lube in that. Corresponding oil galley machined slot on the end cap here. I got a little heavy on that oil. Nah, that'll be fine. Get a little tippity tap. Like so. If I remember right, I had a bunch of damaged hardware. I needed to go pick up a bunch of fine thread. I believe 5/16 bolts and nuts, which I have not done. And I thought this might have been one of the components I was missing hardware, but it looks like they got all three of the nuts, so guess we're good on that front. Did not clean the hardware off though. Went through. Everything's all been through the parts washer and cleaned up, aside from the hardware. I'd rather not be painting over greasy hardware that's not going to take paint, and then just have, you know, a nice clean fresh block and hardware that's all covered in grease and crap. So we'll make some effort to clean it off here. It's amazing how greasy this engine was. But, you know, when the lands and rings are blown out of every single piston, you're probably going to have a little bit of blow by. You probably have a little bit of excessive crankcase pressures, as it did. Snug these up for now. Actually, let me grab, what do you think, 13 millimeter? Well, that's a quarter drum. What in there? Moving on. Then go ahead and put all the lifters in the cylinder head, and we're going to go plop the cylinder head into position. I did realize that after my machinist decked this head, there's just the slightest ridge in the lifter bores, so I couldn't even get them started this direction. So what I did, or what I've done, I've only done this first number one lifter, and I did label all my lifters just so they go back in the same place, and they're, you know, they already have their own wear pattern on the cam. It's not a race engine, it's a tractor engine essentially, but it's never a bad practice. So I'm going to put some lube on there because, you know, pre-lube's always a good thing. And we'll stuff that in its bore. Make sure it moves nice and free. And we'll put its adjuster / retaining bolt on the other end. This bolt's what will actually set the valve lash, but it'll also retain it in the head. Number two, I'll show you what I mean here. There ain't no way, no how that's going in. So it's as simple as knocking that ridge out. It is labeled top front at the top front of the gasket. All right, let's shimmy this on there. Just like that. Beautiful. We will get all of our head bolts and nuts. We'll go ahead and finger tighten those down right now. Get them all going here. I don't remember if there was different length bolts. Okay, there is. Or no? No? They appear to be the same. Probably ought to be real sure of that, so let me go ahead and dump my bag out really quick. So I have a total of 4 shorts and 4, 8, 9 longs. With 3 more nuts. So, very likely 4 shorts, 1, 2, 3, 4, are going to go on the low side of the cylinder head, the lowest point. There you go. Pretty simple. Get a socket. Socket and a ratchet. And we'll just run these down snug to start. They're metric. Oh, here we go. This will have impact metric. Should work fine. So that's got to be what, 16, 17 something now? I'm going to go with 18 actually. Just some of these studs, like this one in particular, can't run that down just with my fingers. There's a little bit of crud on it. So the manual was very vague on the torque procedure for the cylinder head, so I opted to do it in 3 stages. First stage I did 20 foot-pounds, second stage I did 40 foot-pounds, and then the final stage I did 70 foot-pounds on the bolts and 60 foot-pounds on the nuts. So I got 2 long bolts, 4 short bolts. I already have our gasket on there, glued up in place. Our 2 long ones retain fuel lines as well. So just for our gasket to tack up, put some washers behind them to take the place of those fuel line retainers. And that way I can torque this down while this gasket sets up. And these are obviously the 2 locations for those fuel lines. That's why those washers are on there. If that wasn't clear enough. I also had to go back, figure out where this notch in this block-off plate was. Luckily, you know, that's part of the advantage of doing this YouTube thing. Have all the video to go back on. Let that set up. Time to hang the pump. Already went ahead, slathered up the gasket in silicone, got it shoved on there. Slide our pump in. Alignment marks. Previously we were slightly advanced. Pump line was just over the timing cover line, so we'll just match that. Did run with that timing, so I am missing 1 nut for this pump. So trip to the hardware store is in my future, because this is, I believe, 5/16 24. 5/16, yeah, I think 24 is fine thread for 5/16. I think that's what it is. I actually have to measure them. Same as whatever these bolts are. So I'll measure those. I'm gonna get these 2 on there and get this thing tightened down. That gasket set up. Ooh. That's a little too advanced. Right about there. Refer back to disassembly video to look at my picture, but I want to say that's about where it was. Okay. Pump gear. Has a dowel on the back side that will only go into that slot. Got our timing mark there. Unless this pump's rotated at all with it sitting in the same spot for the last however many months, should slide right in. and everything should line right up. And it does, look at that. Pump gear bolts, I couldn't find a torque spec in the manual. They are the same 5/16 size bolt that cam gear is retained by. Cam gear torque spec is listed in the manual, and it listed at 21 foot-pounds. Being that they're the same size bolt, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these to 21 foot-pounds. Trying to see if there's something I could hold to prevent the motor from rotating. Oh. Simple enough. Oop, as I knocked the camera over, huh? We got the new front crank seal in, installed in the timing cover. Got our new gasket on there. We're going to go ahead and install our timing cover at this point. We have a couple locating dowels that will hold her up there. We've got a whole bunch of these little 11mm headed bolts, a few with a 13mm head, and two longer ones with brackets. One of which I know where it goes, the other I'm not entirely sure. So we're going to do some guessing. Mm, 11, maybe? Where are you at? Okay, what do I want to set that to? Let's set that to 10. Not that one, not that one. Not that one, not that one. Lost our washer off of this one. Okay. From my video, I do know one of these ones goes down here, the left side. So what are we working with? We're working with one more long one with a bracket, and another 5/16 bolt that is shorter. Decisions, huh? Well, those would both fit there, so maybe The short one would go right here, because these two are through holes. Maybe my bracketed bolts go in the same spot either side of the crank. And even if they don't, it's fine. We can put them there for now and move them later on. We just need them tightened down so the silicone can set up. No big deal. That would probably make more sense anyway. Then we have 1 5/16 nut. Don't tell me we're missing hardware for, maybe not. Oh, that's for this one. But we have a lock washer and a flat washer that go down there. Ahead of that nut. Well, I guess that flat washer is not 4 5/16. Lock washer is. Actually, let's put a new lock washer on it. Why not? We got them. Where did I put that box? Oh, it's sitting on the engine light, of course. Yeah, new. Extra lockage. Where our timing cover doesn't fall off, you know, because of this one lock washer. That's the wrong socket. Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 little 1/4 inch studs up top, along with some lock washers. Put those on. I'm going to go ahead and mount the pump too, just so I can suck these 2 in. So let me get that stuff out. Otherwise, the cover's on there. Well, if you watch the disassembly videos on this engine, you'd know that I did run into an issue removing the water pump. It has these 2 screws on this plate that are not captured in any way. To remove that plate, you have to get the pump off. Well, to get the pump off, you have to get these the 2 nuts off of these 2 screws, but you can't get to the back side of that plate to hold those screws, so you have to, I had to end up cutting the nut off and splitting the nut. But in that video, that disassembly video, I talked about how I was going to weld the back of these so it was stationary and wouldn't have that problem on assembly or any time in the future if it needed to come apart. So we're going to weld those up now. And it doesn't take much, just a little tack, or I might run a bead and then grind it down flush, because this does have to sit flush up against the timing cover. So it's all stuff I'm going to have to grind down anyway. That way we can actually get some better penetration if I do run a bead rather than a tack. Just like that. Got those two welded in, all ground down flush. So now I'll be able to actually mount the pump after I mount this plate. It'll slide onto those 3 studs. Luckily, for whatever reason, these timing cover bolts are 5/16 by 18. Well, the long ones I originally put down here, I'm going to put up here. I had some 5/16 18 by 1. Brand new hardware I put in there. Some new lock washers. So we'll put these up here to retain this plate. Because they're a little longer. I think about 1.25 inches. Now from there, we should be able to get our pump mounted. I do gotta find, I don't think I have, well, I'm gonna use this one. I gotta measure these studs because I had to cut the one off, so regardless I had to get another, but I think I might have lost one or something along the way. So I'm probably actually, what, 2 shy. I think I have 3 more, so only 1. But I do need to get those measured. That's that nut on there. Now we'll get our, well, I don't know. I might wait to put the pump on until I get the hardware. Just so we have a nice even torque on the gasket and it sets up good. I do have to pick up 4 bolts for the fan hub on the pump. I already did measure those, and I wrote right on it 5/8 125 by 20, so they're fine thread. Now this guy would have gone on here. Well, maybe. Like so. Along with the gasket behind it, and obviously the 4 nuts there. I have 3 nuts and 4 lock washers. I'm gonna go ahead and give that new lock washers as well. So we got to get 1 more of those fine thread nuts for the pump, and we needed 1 more for something else. What was it? Oh, the injection pump. And I believe they're both the same. So I'll have to pick a couple of those up. I install the gear cover for the injection pump. Got it all cleaned up. Got our gasket all siliconed up. Interesting, those are 12 mil. I'm going to go ahead and put the injectors down their bores. Naturally, I don't have, I have 3 of the nuts of the 6 required, so we're not going to worry about torquing them down yet. We're just going to get them in there. Have new dust seals, new compression seals, and I'm actually, because these compression seals do not fit tight on the nozzle, I'm going to drop them down just to make sure they don't do exactly what that one just did and stand up, and they actually sit down in the bore where they need to be, like that. That's a good question. Lines forward or backwards? We're gonna have to go back to some footage, but for now I'll just set it in there like that because we're not going past the dust seal. Okay, let's review some footage, verify that they do face backwards with the inlets, or returns rather, and then we'll try to actually push them down on their bores. So the injector returns do face to the rear of the engine, so we are oriented correctly. Let's try to get them down in their bores. They're actually, I don't think they go a whole lot deeper than that. here's what I'm going to do. Being as we have 3 of the correct size nuts, we're going to run them down to get them to seat, and we'll just do that on all 3. Because that injector seal will hold them in real tight. See, I don't know that that's right. It's weird. It's forcing it out. I don't like it. It's just going to tear that dust seal. Oh, that's because that's as far down as it goes. There's actually a lip that that's hitting. So it will compress up against that. Okay. Do I want to do that then? No, because we need to actually torque those to get our compression seals seated correctly. So we're not going to run those down. We're going to leave them sitting where they're at. It's 1 nut. Just on the top here, and all of them. Oh, come here. Where's my drill? Get that washer out of here. I don't want that actually. And then up here, this guy's got a flat washer and a I feel like that's really tight. I'm gonna have to look how this spring retainer is oriented. Yeah, we're like smashing every living crap out of that cork. Let's do it a little less torque on that. Doesn't need to be quite that tight. That'll work. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you watching. If you're not subscribed and you like my content, please consider doing so. Till the next one, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you on part 2.